Good evening to all. Work, work hard in silence. Let success make the noise. As we are heading towards the success of our two-day international conference, a warm welcome to you all for the final session of our conference. Millennial Bridging the Gap for the Next Generation of Business and Industry, organized by IQAC and Department of Commerce, Economics and Management. Participants can post their questions in the chat box. Now, I invite Mrs. T. Porchelvi, Assistant Professor from the Department of Accounting and Finance, to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. K. Santosh Kumar, Regional Head of Finance, Micro Focus, Singapore.
Good evening. I am happy to introduce Mr. K. Santosh Kumar, Regional Head of Finance at Microfocus Singapore. He has 23 years of experience in various fields like Senior Director Finance PC Printers, Southeast Asia, Korea, HP. Senior Director of Finance of PC Printers, GTM, APJ, and HP. Finance Manager, FPA, APJ, PC Division of HP. Senior Finance Analysis, Treasury, General Accounting, India, HI. We welcome you for the session, sir. The session is yours, sir.
Hello, everybody. Thanks, first of all, for inviting me for this session. And it's an honor for me to come and talk to you all and interact with you all. Now, I will try to speak both in Tamil and English. And wherever you have a doubt or you want to clarify something, you will feel free enough to stop me in between and ask any questions you want. So before I start off, I hope in the pandemic everybody is safe and healthy, and it is important that we follow all the safe protocols in this difficult time during COVID. So the Naina children, even my parents are in Chennai, so I literally track all this COVID cases on a daily basis. And I'm a bit concerned with the amount of cases increasing in India. So all of you just stay safe. So having said that, and thanks for the intro also, the topic what I want to take today is like from an industry perspective. You know, I've been in industry for almost 20 plus years. And from an industry perspective, how do we see the young talents? We can call them millennials who are basically born between 1980 and 2000, or people who are born beyond about after 2000. How we in the industry see things, and how millennials have brought in some amount of change in the attitude and the perspectives and the way they do things, and some of the trends in the finance industry, and few skills which are helpful in terms of increasing your own capabilities, which can help you succeed in the industry. So this is what I am planning to kind of talk through. It's basically my personal experience of what I've exactly seen to the industry. Once again, this is not any kind of rule book which is don't cast into anything. This is more of what me and my colleagues at our senior levels experience, and I just want to share with you my experience, and I hope this will be helpful for you all. Now, ஆரம்பிக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி, just can you take 1 minute and then write down what are you expecting me to speak through in this session? ஒரு நிமிஷம் தரேன், just write down in the chat box, and Yunesh, if you can just capture that, those what they write, it will be helpful. And now at the end of the session, I just want to ensure, did I address whatever they wanted in whatever I spoke through, or if I need to speak a bit more in the later Q&A session, I just wanted to make sure that I cover that point. So in the ஒரு நிமிஷம் தரேன், அதுக்கப்புறம் I will kind of speak through my experience. After that, we will have about 10 to 15 minutes of open session, whereby it can be pretty interactive in terms of what you want to ask me. You can be pretty open on whatever you want to ask. Whatever to the extent I know, I will definitely share with you all based on my experiences. So I'll just give you a minute, and Yunesh, if you can just help me jot down whatever you see in the chat box. Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Just a few seconds, sir.
Meanwhile, I will just start sharing my screen as I give them a minute. Yunesh, do you see some chats coming through?
Yes, sir. They're just posting.
Okay.
Posting, sir. Just few seconds.
Yeah. Should I start, Yunesh?
Yes, sir. One question what we received is what will be the financial position of India, that is GDP and other things, this after post-COVID?
Okay. That is
Like that, they just how that the financial things will be there in India. One question was there, sir.
okay. Fine. Is that the only one which has come so far?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Let us go through this discussion and then we'll. Okay. So just to give you a faster background, though I was introduced by one of your colleagues, I have been in Hewlett Packard for a very long time. உங்களுக்கெல்லாம் HP company தெரிஞ்சிருக்கும். It is a company which makes printers, PCs and servers. ஒரு 20 years plus அந்த கம்பெனில இருக்கேன். இப்போ last 4-5 years Micro Focus ஒரு software company which is a spin-off of one of the HP divisions. Now I have done various finance roles inside the company and I'm right now in a leadership role for an Asia Pacific region. Now இப்போ நான் காட்டுற slide, Yunesh, are you able to see my slide?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, great, fantastic. So what I am going to talk through is like what I've explained a few minutes earlier is how does industry look at the young talents and the attributes to success? What are the prevailing attitudes the young talent is bringing along? What are the key positives we see from the young talents? What are the hard and soft skills which are required to succeed? What does development mean? I know நம்மலாம் வந்து we study and then we come out of studying either a BCom or a chartered accountancy course or a cost accountancy course or an MBA course. So what does development really mean? Okay, then few examples of what the industry opportunities are as you are all budding finance professionals. All of you will have various ideas of what you want to do. This is just to give you few flavors of what are the various industry and then finance roles which you will come across, and you can definitely think through and then plan where you want to be, and some trends which are basically changing the finance industry. Now there was a survey which was conducted in America CPAs. இது கொஞ்சம் 2015 survey தான். That is a latest survey, but 2015 is not too far enough also. There is a general understanding that there is a lot of increase in the finance and accounting graduation course, be it basic graduation or in the master's degree course, which is actually a good news in the sense that industry requires a lot of finance professionals, and we see a lot of people who are taking up the finance profession from their curriculum perspective, so which is actually a good thing to know. At the same point in time, we should also know that there are a lot of things changing in the industry. So அது வந்து அந்த trends வரச்சே I will probably point out some of the changes because of which the traditional accounting stuff what we all probably start off with is probably no more an ongoing continuous profession over 5 to 10 years time. So we all need to develop ourselves bit more than the accounting into the finance side, into the analytics side, to keep ourselves moving up the ladder. So prevailing attitudes. நான் இந்த ஸ்லைட் எதுக்கு போட்டேன்னா, நம்ம எல்லாம் வந்துட்டு நம்மளுக்கு ஒரு டவுட் இருக்கும் நம்ம மனசுக்குள்ளே, நம்ம நினைக்கிறது கரெக்டா, நம்ம நினைக்கிறது தப்பா, இல்ல நம்ம நினைக்கிறது is it being taught by other people also? So there's a lot of doubts which creates in the mind. So I felt very important to put the slide because a lot of these should be going in a lot of your minds. At the end of it, it is just to vouch or just to give you a confirmation that these are all very common thought process which any of you will have, and it is a good thing to have, or it's a correct thing to have, or the reality is that these things are the thinking process which happens among the young talents. Now millennials specific podala ena millennials na, if you go to the definition of millennials, it stops between it stops with year 2000. So if I am looking at you guys, I'm sure some of you would have born after 2000 also, and some before 2000. So the millennial, the word exact I use panla, but pretty much most of the young talents. So I will just pick up a few in this to talk through. Back even that you should be able to just scan through and then understand. One is the values will has remained the same across all the generation. The values, which means is primarily to contribute to the company, has pretty much remained. There are some changes which young talents have brought in the sense that they just don't want to contribute only to the company. They want to contribute to a bigger cause, which could be a society or which could be a particular sect of people in the society. They just don't want to contribute only in the company. So it's a fresh thinking what we see when we see young people coming in. If you see a bit more older generation, like my father's generation and all, they all had one idea of joining one company and retire with one company. The current generation is not looking at retiring at one company. So they are moving around companies. They are trying to contribute, they learn, and then contribute to other places where they have learned. In the process, they are looking for a slightly bigger pie in terms of contribution, and a bigger pie in terms of society rather than just the company. Then trust and respect, இது வந்து ரொம்ப முக்கியம். I mean, like everybody wants to be valued, respected, trusted. Whenever we are in a group or a team, there are always more than one person in that. I mean, even நம்ம own family எடுத்துட்டா கூட அப்பா அம்மா, brother, sister, cousins, your friend circle, same thing, correct? Whenever there are more than one people, there is always a trust and respect which is expected that we give to others. Like the way we expect trust, we also have to give trust and respect. So when we aspire to become leaders, one of the biggest attitude which a leader should have is being trustworthy and being credible. Aprom organization politics, correct? I mean, இது எதுக்கு நான் போட்டேன்னா, a politics is a reality. We will have to fight through that reality. அது நம்ம கிளாஸ் ரூமா இருக்கட்டும், ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸா இருக்கட்டும், ஒரு கம்பெனியா இருக்கட்டும், we should learn how to navigate through. We should never get scummed. Scummedனா நம்ம அதுக்கு பயந்து போய் உட்காந்துடக்கூடாது. அது இருக்குன்னு தெரிஞ்சுட்டு போயிட்டு we should see how to work through it. We should not talk bad about anybody. We should not fight it out, but we should be able to navigate through. Then change. So there is lots of change. I mean, நம்ம இன்னைக்கு ஒன்று படிக்கிறோம், what we study today might not be relevant at all in 5 years time. So what is it? It's a process of continuous learning, correct? So change is the only constant. நம்ம ஒரு வேலை பண்றோம் இன்னைக்கு, with the amount of robotics, with the amount of artificial intelligence all coming through, and the வேலைக்கே there might not be requirement at all, a requirement from a human touch. So we got to be ready to do something else what is adding value to the society or to the company. Loyalty. இது நான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் சொன்ன மாதிரி, the elder generations were more loyal to just one aspect, which is more a company perspective. But the current generation has shown a loyalty can be to a bigger cause, which is a very, very good fresh air of thinking, which has come from the younger generation. Then everybody wants to learn, correct? I mean, continuous learning, that is very key if we have to survive and keep leading for a longer time. And the last one, it's very important. everybody wants a coach na it is like a mentor also. Mentor na இப்போ வந்துட்டு நம்மளுக்கு ஏதாவது we might have one or two people either from a friends group or from the teachers or from வேலை பண்ண ஆரம்பிக்கிறச்சே it could be our colleagues or it could be our bosses. We should have couple of mentors for us who will help us guide our thinking process. Guide what I mean is, from a guide is, they are not there to pull you from one place and then put you as a manager or a senior vice president or a CEO. அந்த மாதிரி வேலை இல்லை. They should be able to help you clarify your thought process. நம்மளுக்கு எப்பெல்லாம் டவுட் வருதோ, நம்மளுக்கு எப்பெல்லாம் கிளாரிட்டி இல்லையோ, we should have a constant engagement with those mentors and have a very open discussion. எனக்கு இந்த மாதிரி தோன்றது, நான் யோசிக்கிறது சரியா, நான் போற ரூட் சரியா, இல்லை எனக்கு கொஞ்சம் கைட் பண்ணுங்க. So those people are people who are not judgmental about what you think. So please make sure that find out couple of people who are good and who are to whom you are close with and who will not make a judgment on you because you are going to share exactly what you think. நம்ம பைத்தியக்காரத்தனமா யோசிக்கலாம், பட் அந்த பைத்தியக்காரத்தனத்தை சொல்ற அளவுக்கு we should be close enough to that person, and that person should be close enough to you also. So there will be always few people, so go and ask for help. That is very 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 important. நீங்க 20 வயசு இருந்தாலும் சரி, 40 வயசு இருந்தாலும் சரி, 60 வயசு இருந்தாலும் சரி, எந்த வயசுலயுமே வந்துட்டு we need that coach, we need that mentor to guide. Okay, so don't ever forget this. How much ever you learn, how much ever you go, to think that எனக்கு ஒரு டவுட் இருக்கே, எனக்கு ஒரு யாராவது ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுமே, it is not a bad thought, it is a very good thought. So don't take it as a negative aspect, it is the most positive aspect. Okay, அடுத்த ஸ்லைட்ல இதுல வந்து what I wanted to share is what are the positives what we see in the younger talents or the millennials. So once again, இந்த ஸ்லைட்லாம் போடுறது, இந்த பாயிண்ட்ஸ்லாம் சொல்றதுக்கு காரணம் வந்துட்டு, நீங்க நினைக்கலாம் நான் இப்படி என்னோட attribute இப்படி, என்னோட பிஹேவியர் இப்படின்ட்டு, பட் there are a lot of positives which come outside of the attributes and attitudes which young talents bring in, young talents like you who bring into this industry. What are those great positives? Once again, these are not stone cast, these are not nailed in the wall, but these are all great positives what we see in young talents, which we are very happy to embrace and which helps us also to look in a different perspective. What are those? You guys are all extremely skilled. The amount of information access you have, it's an extremely vast amount of information access you have. Before anybody can say something, you've already researched on it. For a simple example, doctor கிட்ட போய் டாக்டர் ஒன்னு சொல்றதுக்குள்ள you have already googled and figured out what that disease is or what that issue is, and then we are questioning the doctors. Similarly, finance field, you already have access to so much of information. It is just your passion to go and look into the information. So the skill level of the current generation is extremely high. Able to leverage technology faster. Technology change ஆண்டே இருக்கு. For a older generation, first of all, to accept technology and to itself was a bigger point. Then there's a change in technology. Every 1-2 years, things are fastly changing in technology, upside down. The companies which are existent right now, in 3 years time, they're no more existent. There are another company with a better technology taking over. So adaptability and learning of new technology is an amazing skill you guys have. Navigate change faster. Now the previous slide சொன்ன how important the change is and how important to accept the change. The younger generation seems to be much faster in accepting a change and moving ahead. The younger generation do not identify with the job. So this is what I was also telling, that the younger generation see a bigger cost or a bigger need, not just the company. I mean, நம்மளோட அப்பா ஜெனரேஷன்லாம் எடுத்துட்டோம்னா, everybody is basically saying na in the company join பண்ணா அந்த கம்பெனிக்கு தான் I will basically give my life across. I will work only for that company. I will do what may. I will even sacrifice a family for that company. So that was a kind of attitude and loyalty they had. But right now, you guys have a much broader spectrum of what is right, what is a contribution, correct? You work in a company for a few years, you contribute to it, and do you see how much of that contribution is helping in particular society or an organ or an or a outside world? If that reaches a ceiling limit for you, you go to some other area of experience to gain, whether in the same company or a different company, as long as it keeps contributing back to the society. That's an amazing kind of attribute you all have. The other one is millennials have an inherent dislike for conformity. Conformity na, the earlier workforce like to have something which is more confirmed, something which is more clear. They were not very comfortable with the ambiguity state of affairs. But the younger talents, they need not know what is going to happen in 2 months time or 1 year time or 3 year time. They are very happy not to conform to norms and not to be exactly 100% clear of what it is, correct? They are prepared to do things which are not normal. They are prepared to break things and do things out of the box, which is very, very, very refreshing for, in the industry. Then I talked about respect, then gravitate towards positive society impact. I spoke about that overall impact and the cause which younger talent is looking, which is from a people profit, not just from a people profit and the purpose perspective. I think the lot of things shifting towards the purpose. Then there is a lot of high optimism. Younger generation doesn't like slowness. They want things extremely fast, which is good. I know you have a few leaders who are making decisions a bit in a more calmer manner, and there's a younger generation coming to the industry able to do and execute things much faster. They don't like doing things slow. They don't like taking decisions slowly. They want to move fast. I mean, you would have seen how a business was run 15 years before. I mean, you wouldn't have seen, but you could imagine how things were 10, 15 years ago. You could talk to your parents. I'm sure the first thing they'll say is, "Engada ordringa, edha podikku ipdi ordringa, konjam meduva pannunga." So that is the kind of transformation which has had over a period of 10 to 15 years time. People, younger generation, want to do things faster. Once again, that is a good thing. The younger generation expects instant feedback. Ipo, couple of generations ago, if you go back and say, "Hey, you don't do this right, you don't do that wrong, you change this, you change that," people used to take it a bit defensively as to, why is somebody coming and telling me this? I mean, what wrong I have done? Please don't, look at your own work. Don't come and tell me, correct? That was used to be the attitude. But the current generation is extremely open to feedback. If somebody comes and says, they go back and see, okay, is there something which I can improve? Is there a point made by somebody in the perspective of an overall development and improvement? They are very open for feedback. In the feedback kuda na vandu, I want to stress to all of you, yaravadu vandu sonnanga, please don't take it as a criticism, because lot of the times where we fall into the trap is, if somebody comes and gives a feedback, it could be positive feedback. Positive feedback is very good. We all are very happy. We all clap hands and go move on. But if it's not a positive feedback, we kind of sulk. Sulk na enartham, அப்படியே மூஞ்சி தூங்க உட்கார்ந்துட்டு இருப்போம். இவன் யார் சொல்றதுக்கு. Please don't get into that mode. We will have to take it positively and then see அவங்க சொன்ன பாயிண்ட்ல ஏதாவது அர்த்தம் இருக்கா. If ஏதாவது அர்த்தம் இருந்தது, if you have to make a change based on that, and if that change is for good, please go ahead and do. Nobody is an expert on everything in this world. நம்ம எல்லாம் படிச்சிருக்கலாம், but we are not experts on everything which come across our way. We need people across us to tell us if certain things are not going correct, and that's an opportunity for us to go and change things rather than getting defensive or offensive of the feedback. So I just want to put and the mentorship சொன்ன போன ஒரு 10 minutes back, and the mentorship nalla ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கோங்க, இந்த feedback nalla ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கோங்க, because How much ever you learn, how much ever you go up higher in the ladder, mentorship and feedback is a continuous stuff which you will have to engage irrespective of how old you get or how high you go in the ladder. And once again, அதுக்கெல்லாம் there is no barrier to age. You can get an feedback from an younger person also. உங்களோட வயசுல இருந்து சின்னவங்க கிட்ட இருந்து கூட feedback வாங்கலாம். So please don't think that only people of higher than your age should come and give you a feedback. Don't get caught in those kind of thinking process. Then last, the young talents are basically want a customized working environment. I mean, முன்னாடி எல்லாம் இண்டஸ்ட்ரியில வந்து ரொம்ப ஸ்பெசிஃபிக்கா இருக்கும் roles. If you fit in that role, if it otherwise, go ahead, do something else, correct? But இப்ப அப்படி இல்ல. இப்ப depending upon the talent and all those stuff, the companies are open to customize the role. As long as the candidate or the talent is good enough, they are ready to customize and accommodate it because they see value which is bought in by the young talents, and then they take it for and it kind of catches on with other employees or other co-workers or colleagues. It just creates a whole lot of positive environment. So once again, these are the things which I have experienced. Once again, not cast in stone, not nailed down. Idhuk mailing kuda nariya irakalam, but these are all some of the common positives what we see from the younger talents coming through. Now, skills required. Now, these are all some of the important skills we should learn as we go through our learning process. இது எல்லாமே வந்து ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் டைம்ல குள்ள கத்துக்க முடியாது. What I meant is, இப்போ வந்து we are doing graduation. So what a graduation can help you teach is some of the technical skills. If you see in the middle column over here, it will teach you some of the technical skills regarding finance and accounting and all those stuff. You might have to go for an outside course to have a learning of advanced Excel and data analysis and ERP knowledge and all those stuff. Those are all the hard skills. And the hard skills last box on the job. So only when you come to the industry, then you will start learning, because whatever you learned in the college school is only good for you to get into the industry. And what you do in industry might not be complicated from an academic perspective. It is complicated from an execution perspective, because படிக்கிறச்சே நீ ஓண்டி படிச்சா போதும், நம்ம ஓண்டி படிச்சா போதும், நம்ம படிச்சு நம்ம பாஸ் பண்ணா நம்ம வேலை முடிஞ்சு போச்சு. We don't have to collaborate with anybody else to study. ஆனா இண்டஸ்ட்ரியில அப்படி கிடையாது. இண்டஸ்ட்ரிக்குள்ள வந்துட்டோம்னா we will have to collaborate with a lot of people to get our job done. So it is not the academics which will help, it is the EQ. EQ-ன்றது your intelligent quotient or your emotional quotient. How emotional are you to get your job done without getting offended, without losing your anger? How nicely you navigate, that becomes extremely important. So adan the word trust and respect on theriyuma. As long as you trust and respect others, you will be able to navigate through rather than getting offended or treating others a bit incorrectly. Soft skills ku varan. Soft skill communication romba important. So either written communication avattum, verbal communication avattum. Verbal is a bit more important than written, because you can still take time to write, to go through whatever you have written 2-3 times before you send it across. Verbal communication, once you spit it out, you can't take it out. ஒரு தடவை சொன்னா தான் திருப்பி எடுக்க முடியாது இல்லையா? So we need to be extremely careful of what you are talking, what vocabulary are you using, and what tone you are using. Romba important. I mean, அது நான் சொல்லவே தேவையில்லை. We leave off the industry. Even if you take your own parents, your own siblings, your own friends, the moment your vocabulary or your tone changes, it turns into animosity. Animosity-na ரெண்டு பேருக்குள்ள சண்டை வரும், ரெண்டு பேருக்குள்ள தகராறு வரும், ரெண்டு பேருக்குள்ள கோபம் வரும். So இதெல்லாம் உங்களுக்கு தெரியாதது கிடையாது. All this will be applicable once you get into the industry. So the verbal communication is something very important. You will have to learn to speak confidently, learn to speak clearly. Of course, then other skills in terms of listening, public speaking, and all those stuff. இன்னொரு important thing, communicate பண்றச்சே we should be able to be confident in communicating difficult messages. நல்ல மெசேஜ்லாம் கம்யூனிகேட் பண்ணா everybody will clap, correct? It's very easy to communicate. I mean, even if you're not great communicator, you communicate a good thing, people will not look into how you communicate it. The news is fantastic, they will clap hands, they will hug you, and they will go on. But if the news is bad, if you have to communicate a difficult news, you need to be really good in talking through, because after you say, people are not going to be happy of what you say. And if we're not saying it a bit more efficiently, it can make the matters even worse. Okay, interpersonal skill, I spoke about trust and respect, I spoke about teamwork, collaboration, I spoke about navigating politics. Basically the other things is problem solving and customer service. The last one is from the business side, how adaptable and how flexible you are. I spoke about in terms of process of continuous learning, process of being ready to change, and all these are the traits which the young talents already have. I'm just trying to ensure that I'm giving you a confirmation that the traits all you guys come with is the trait which industry is looking for. So be adaptable, be flexible. Ethics and integrity, romba important pa. You can be the number one ranked in the university, you can be the most brightest ever student, but if you come into the industry, if you don't have ethics and integrity, the day it is out, you will fall from the ladder, however big you are. Even if you're a CEO or a CFO, if your ethics is bad, if you are not if your integrity is questioned, you will fall from the position in one day. It's not even months, in very one particular day you will fall from the highest of point of the ladder to the floor. So keep those basics right. Some of the basics is trust and respect, ethics and integrity are some of the basics we need to make sure that as a person you kind of exuberate or show those kind of traits. ஏன்னா இதெல்லாம் வந்து it's உள்ளுக்குள்ள வரணும். You need to be that should be inculcated in you. There is nothing which people can teach you how to be all of you know what ethics is, correct, but you need to practice that needs to come to you naturally. Development methods, இது ஏன் நான் போட்டேன்னா, இது வந்து எல்லா கம்பெனிலயும் வந்து நீங்க இண்டஸ்ட்ரிக்கு வந்தாலே இட்ஸ் வெரி ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் ஸ்டஃப். நம்ம என்ன கத்துண்டு வரோமோ அது 10% தான். இப்ப நான் வந்து சிஏ படிச்சிருக்கேன், சிஏல வந்து அக்கவுண்டிங் பெரிய பெரிய ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ் இருக்கும், பெரிய பெரிய டாக்ஸ் ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ் இருக்கும், 3 மணி நேரம் எக்ஸாம் உட்காந்து எழுதணும். Everything is fine, but I joined a company, there is no more examination, there are no more 3-hour question papers, there is no more 2-page questions to read and think through. However, what requires is the next 20 and 30 70% which help me to solve what comes across to me in the industry, correct? அப்ப கேட்கலாம் நான் ஏன் படிக்கணும்ட்டு. The reason why you study a graduation course or a professional course is to give you confidence of facing the solution, give you a confidence of standing and then saying that, okay, I have the required aptitude to understand the problem. How do you solve the problem is basically your IQ, EQ, how you work with the team. That is how you're going to solve the problem, and that is why you need 20% of informal training. Informal training, nachona mari, you need to have mentorship, you need to have coaching that will give you how to navigate through. Then the last one is 70% is how you do the job itself. நம்ம வேலையை எப்படி பண்றோம் தான் is very important. I mean, very simple example, correct? ஒரு சாம்பார் பண்ணணும்னா கூட நம்ம கிட்ட ரெசிபி இருக்கும் கையில, இவ்வளோ உப்பு போடணும், இவ்வளோ சாம்பார் பொடி போடணும், இவ்வளோ மல்லித்தொடி போடணும்ட்டு எல்லாம் in the paper. But when you start cooking, you have lot of doubts. நம்மளுக்கு தெரியும் நம்ம இப்போ 1 teaspoon போட்டோமா, 2 teaspoon 1.5 teaspoon போட்டோமா, தண்ணி ஜாஸ்தி ஆயிட்டா, there will be lot of questions to us, correct? We just don't know whether we followed it or not. But once, twice, 2-3 தடவை பண்ண அப்புறம் third time you will just close your eyes and do. So that's why on hands experience is extremely important in the learning process. So to come to the industry, what you're doing is extremely required. That's absolutely basic. Graduation panno, namba adukku mela professional course panno, whatever it is. Keep your aspirations high. Bayapadama poi pannungo. Then finance career choices. So what are the finance careers? There are various industry, correct? I've listed industries over here. It can be a BPO industry, it can be a corporate finance, it could be a commercial finance or a banking industry or an investment venture capitalist. You can go into an insurance company, there could be audit and consulting, or it could be any industry. Like you can take an you can take an industry like an PC industry, where it could be an Apple, or it could be a tech industry, it could be like Apple, Google's, and Oracle, or you could take a manufacturing industry, it could be like an Ashok Leyland or a Tata, or big semiconductor industry like Samsung, which makes a lot of appliances. There are industries large, there's so many industries, correct? What are the various kind of roles? Okay, there could be a controllership role. Controllership na accounting பண்றது, balance sheet reconciliation பண்றது, trial balance பண்றது, to finalize the audit with external auditors. It could be tax, it could be planning, treasury, sales, finance. These are all the various roles which are available. இதெல்லாம் வந்து you can go and Google and find out a bit more on these roles. I'm sure there are a lot of write-up which can give you solid amount of information as to what all these roles are entitled to. உங்களுக்கு, you will have to decide what is that you want to do. உங்களுக்கு என்ன பிடிக்கும், எந்த ரோல் போகணும், எந்த இண்டஸ்ட்ரி போகணும், அதெல்லாம் வந்துட்டு இட்ஸ் a very personal choice. Everything is correct, there is nothing wrong. ஒரே ஒரு அட்வைஸ் என்னன்னா, நம்ம எந்த ஒரு ஃபினான்ஸ் ரோல் எடுத்துட்டாலும் every 2 to 3 years முடிஞ்ச மட்டும் சேஞ்ச் பண்ணிட்டே இருங்க. என்ன ஆகும்னா, over a period of 15 to 20 years you would have at least done 5 to 6 roles of this different finance roles over here. So when you get a broader experience, as you go up in the career ladder, people who have broader experience are valued the most. உங்களுக்கு நிறைய opportunities வரும். People want to grab you because you have broader experience. Don't get locked down into just one experience and be in that. I mean, அதுலயும் பண்ணலாம். You can also become a super expert in one thing. You can also come to the top on one. It is possible. I'm not saying it is not possible, but after a certain point in time, if you're only looking into one ladder, and the ladder there will be 5 people trying to climb. If you go across and if you learn broader, you have the opportunities across 5 ladders. So you have 5 ladders waiting for you to decide which one you want to climb. So just be prepared to move parallelly and learn different things in the first 10 to 15 years of a career. So there are recent trends which are basically changing the industry. Fintech is basically how the technology and the financial services come together to create new solutions for the customers. Cryptocurrency, நீங்கலாம் பார்த்திருப்பீங்க, a lot of Bitcoin stuff and stuff of coming out. Similarly, blockchain, robotic process automation, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, all this are changing the way a finance industry is been working. Either you can talk of accounting or you can talk of analysis. With the data analytics and all those stuff, you don't need one person to crunch the data. The data is already crunched by the systems using artificial intelligence, and it'll just throw the results out. All you are required is to interpret the results and then make an informed decision of what you want to do. So a lot of these things are coming up and changing the way you or a finance leader is going to work in the industry. Last slide of mine, and not the least, to succeed you should pace it. What is pace it? Passion, ரொம்ப important. உங்களுக்கு interest இல்லாட்டி no point, correct? You could have become a chartered accountant, you could have become an MBA, you could have become a doctor or engineer or whatever it is, but பண்ற வேலையில passion இல்லாட்டி படிச்சதெல்லாம் waste தான், because you're not going to put it into reality. So most important is, whatever you do, you should have passion. So just pick up things where you have interest and where you have liking. ரெண்டாவது attitude. passion இருக்கலாம், நம்மளுக்கு நிறைய knowledge இருக்கலாம், but if you don't have positive attitude, you will not succeed for a long time. இப்போ வந்து டாக்டர் எடுத்துக்கோங்க, the doctor is good, நல்லா படிச்சிருக்கான், but when a patient goes to him, he doesn't treat the patient, he doesn't talk to the patient properly, he doesn't treat them or he doesn't respect them, which patient will want to go to him? You wouldn't want to go to a doctor who is not even talking to you properly, correct? So நம்ம எல்லாம் படிச்சிருக்கலாம், but if you don't have a positive attitude, if you don't work well with others, then you will fall flat. Moonavathu, communication. I spoke about communication previously also, so that's important. I spoke about ethics and integrity also. We can have a great knowledge, we can have a positive attitude, nalla communicate pannalam, but if I'm doing shady things behind everybody's back for the benefit of me, you could be the chief minister of any state or you can be a prime minister of a country. If you are caught with the corruption, or if you are caught doing things which are not ethically correct, you are stripped of the post the very next day. So ethics and integrity, trust and respect. Epume, the way we expect others to respect us and trust what we say, we will also have to have similar approach to others. Blind trust panna vena, you can trust based on the data, but you don't go in by not trusting or disrespecting somebody. You have to trust and respect with somebody, but you can always base it on data, but keep it very objective discussion. So that's pretty much I had in terms of what I wanted to share with you in terms of what we are looking into young talents and what young talents are bringing out of the table, and how interesting is to have these young talents into the industry with various attributes, various positive behaviors you guys are bringing in, and finally what is required to succeed, correct? You can bring in everything, but ultimately you will have to pace it in such a way that you are able to move up the ladder steadily and strongly. So let me stop here and then open it up for an open discussion. I mean, Yunesh, Kamala madam, if there's anything you want me to talk on, fine, but that's pretty much I had as to what I wanted to share from my experience.
Thank you, sir. The session was informative and interesting session, and we extend our gratitude for sharing your real-time experience and explaining us about the expectations of the industry in the current scenario. You are really focused on mentoring, accepting positive and negative feedbacks, skills required, managing the skills required. Thank you so much, sir. So before going on to the question answer session, I would like to remind the participants to kindly fill the feedback form posted in the chat box. So we have a few questions in the coming up. To begin with, what would be the budget allocation for the future industry? Like they want to know whether it would be a higher budget or low budget.
See, this is a very open-ended question and difficult to answer. Correct. Now, with the current COVID impact, every industry is impacted, and the way things are getting done is going to change drastically. I mean, even in the way of how we work, how we connect up, everything is going to change. When you say budget, I don't know whether you are referring to how a country, a specific government in each of the countries are going to allocate budget to the various industry, or how a company is going to allocate budgets within them to go and do what is required to be done. So definitely government will be putting in more money to industry for it to come back. Companies within themselves, they will be trimming budget within themselves, because the way things are getting done is going to change. And unless otherwise, even if post COVID, even if things are going to be definitely things will be positive, but within the company how things are done is definitely are going to change, because this pandemic has taught very different way of approaching things in a more efficient and more economical way. But industry will definitely come back. Government will be spending more for industries to come back.
Thank you, sir. Can you suggest some basic steps to undertake challenging assignments in service sector?
Okay, so whether in service sector or any sector for that matter, it doesn't really matter which sector we are referring to. First is challenging assignment. Now, if any challenging assignment comes in, the first thing what we need to evaluate is what is that you want to do in that challenging assignment? Do you want to be the part of the team which is looking into the challenging assignment? Do you want to be the leader of the team? You need to be very clear of what role you want to play. நான் எடுக்கிறேன்னு பேர் வேலை எடுக்கிறதுலாம் வந்து பைத்தியக்காரத்தனம். So the reason I say that is you need to be very clear of what you want to achieve in that. One is you want to solve a challenging situation, which is a fantastic attitude. At the same point in time, what role you want to play. It's like, na cricket round na cricket round cheri, but you want to be a batsman, you want to be a bowler, you want to be a wicket keeper. You need to be clear of what role you want to play. நானும் சும்மா 11 பேருக்கு ஞானம் இல்லையா, ஃபீல்டுக்குள்ள போறேன், ஃபீல்டுக்குள்ள இறங்கின பிறகு I'll decide whether what I want to do. அது பண்ண முடியாது. Even for cricket, your role is defined before you enter the field. So first thing is define what you want to do and where you can add value and where you can learn. Second thing is approach the team which is looking into resolving the challenging situation. Go and have a discussion with them saying, I have an interest to be part of this team, either as a leader or as a contributor or as in whatever capacity it is. Can you help me brief a bit more in terms of what needs to be done? What is the time commitment? And then you express your interest, because you need to know the time commitment also. If the time commitment is 8 hours a day, and if you have a day job of 8 hours a day, be prepared. You need to at least commit 15 to 16 hours a day. So it is very important for you to know what you're committing to it. And once you know, and once you take it up, you got to be fully committed.
Thank you, sir. So one more question on the chat. How far is the experimental learning will be effective during the lockdown period?
See, experimental learning, I'm not sure what kind of avenues you have to do experimental learning. See, any learning is good. Now, with the COVID time, there are two ways to look into it, correct? We can all say that now I'm getting into more calls, or the other way is there are 2 hours I save otherwise which I would have spent in the car or a motorcycle or a bus to reach my office, correct? So on those 2 hours or 3 hours a day, no, you don't have to do it every day, correct? You can pick up once a week or once in 2 weeks or even twice a month, correct? We can pick up a 6 hours of study you want to do. Either it could be a course, you can register it, or it could be a particular speech you want to go and attend. Any experimental learning, no learning will go waste. Let me put it like this. No learning will go waste. Whether you will be able to apply that learning immediately in what you do, or is it going to come and help you somewhere down the line in your career, that depends upon exactly what you're learning. But let me tell you, no learning will go waste.
Thank you, sir. It was a wonderful session. We are going to the end of the session. Be kind, be thoughtful, be genuine, but most of all, be thankful. Now I invite our co-convener of the conference, Dr. S. Umar Charlata, Head Department of Commerce, to deliver the oath of thanks.
Okay, Deepa, before that, I just want to put
Yes,
one more point across to the team. இது நான் முன்னாடியே சொல்லியிருக்கணும், but it just slipped my mind. It came to me right now. நீங்க வந்து ஆரம்பிக்கறச்சே ஒரு பாயிண்ட் சொன்னீங்க, that do the work, let the success speak. Can you repeat that phrase you said in the first?
Work hard in silence, let success make the noise.
Okay. Now I have a contrary view to this. Work hard in silence. Now I'll tell you why. If you when you join an industry, நம்மளோட colleagues எல்லாம் வந்து they are just not Indians. You are going to deal with people from China, Japan, Europe, America, everywhere. Now you cannot be silent. You got to take this as a honest feedback from people coming from the industry. I spent 25 years. நான் இப்படி தான் வந்தேன். சைலண்டா இரு, வேலை பண்ணு, எல்லாம் வந்து everything will speak on itself. If you remain silent, nothing speaks. You will have to speak for it to speak. What I mean by you have to speak is you need to be confident enough to stand up and talk where it is required. Don't remain silent. You work hard, completely accepted. Remain silent, no. அதுக்காக தம்பட்ட அடிச்சுன்னு சொல்லலாம். There are occasions where you will have to stand up and speak. Please stand up and speak. And one of the biggest weakness, Asians, I'll term it as Asians, I'm including Indians and Chinese or Japanese, anybody. The biggest weakness what we have is, நம்மளுக்கு 80% of the topic தெரிஞ்சிருக்கும், 20% தெரியாது. ஏதாவது ஒரு மீட்டிங் போயிட்டு if you have to stand up and talk, நம்ம மனசுக்குள்ள அந்த 20% தெரியாது தெரியுமா, அதுதான் ஞாபகம் வரும். ஐயோ நம்மளுக்கு அது தெரியாது, அது வந்தா என்ன சொல்றது, அந்த கேள்வி வந்தா என்ன பதில் சொல்றது, அந்த பயத்திலே whatever we know of the 80% doesn't come out. It actually pulls us down in front of lot of the leaders. Contrary, you know how the Europeans and Americans behave? They only know, I'm not generalizing. Even if they know only 20%, the confidence in which they stand up and talk and deliver of what they know creates such a positive impact. The whole thing is very different. நம்ம யோசிப்போம், நம்மளுக்கு இதுக்கு மேல தெரியுமே, நம்மளால பேச முடியலையே, ஏன் பேச முடியல, நம்மளுக்கு என்ன தெரியலையோ அதை யோசிச்சு வருத்தப்பட்டு உட்காந்துருக்கோம். பட் வெஸ்டர்னர்ஸ் எப்படி கிடையாது, அவளுக்கு என்ன தெரியுமோ அதை அழுத்தமா அழகா கிளியரா சொல்லுவாங்க. they are not worried of what they don't know, and if they're asked about that what they don't know, they very clearly say, I don't know about that topic, I will get back to you when I get more information. They're very honest about it, and they are not afraid of saying I don't know about that topic. நம்ம இந்தியன்ஸ் என்ன பண்ணுவோம், ஐயோ எப்படி தெரியாதுன்னு சொல்றது, it is viewed as negative. So please take that thing out of your mind. If you don't know something, openly accept, I don't know about this topic, I'll come back. Don't remain silent, talk, communicate, stand up and express your opinion. So I'm sorry, Deepa, to basically slightly twist your sentence, but your sentence of working hard, 100% correct. Remaining silent, you remain silent where it is required to be. You don't have to unnecessarily go and தமிழ் அடிக்க வேணாம், இது தெரியும் அது தெரியும் அது பண்ண வேணாம். But where you need to speak, stand up and speak. Where you don't know certain things, be honest and bold enough to say you don't know, you need to check back and come back. Absolutely acceptable in the industry. So that is this is one I just want to bring it up to the team. Over to you, Deepa.
Thank you, sir. Over to Mama for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Deepa. I deem it a privilege to propose vote of thanks on this two-day international conference on millennial bridging the gap for the next generation of business and industry. The vibration of gratitude attracts more positive things into our life. Now, it's time to convey gratitude to all those who have extended their support to make it achievable. Let me first thank God Almighty for making this conference a resounding one. My heartfelt gratitude to keynote speaker of inaugural session, Dr. Rangarajan, an eminent professor and head Department of Commerce from University of Madras, for gracing this occasion. We have been fortunate to have renowned speakers across the globe for all sessions. We remain grateful to Dr. Navanitha Krishnan from Salala College of Technology from Oman, Mrs. Lakshmi Balaji, Senior Manager of IT Sector, Dr. Sendil Kumar from Skyline University, Nigeria, Mr. K. Santosh Kumar, Regional Head of Finance at Micro Focus, Singapore, for sharing their expertise and opinion in field of business and industry. On behalf of this organizing team, I would like to place on record my gratitude to our beloved founder and chairman, Chevalier Dr. N.R. Dhanapalan, for his blessings and encouragement, our Secretary N.R.D. Prem Kumar sir for his dynamic leadership, our Joint Secretary sir, Dr. P.R. Premchand, for his wise mentoring and guidance, which is rendered constantly. My sincere thanks adds on to Principal Dr. Kamala Balakrishnan, who was a driving force for this conference, and Vice Principal Mrs. Zafia Solomon for always being a solid supporter. We offer our grateful thanks to Professor Dr. A. Shameen from Amit University and Mr. Vishwanathan from IT sector for extending their helping hands to organize this international conference. I convey my special thanks to our students for their presenting papers, which was assisted and guided by assistant professors, Dr. Prasanna, Mr. Sriram, Mr. Deepan, and Mrs. Lavanya of our institution. We offer a grateful thanks to technical team of our college, participants, academicians, industrialists, scholars, and students across the globe who has manifested the quest for knowledge through their participation in making this conference a success. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's all raise up for the national anthem.